If you with it, drop it.
Hi guys, it's your girl Mantate. Welcome back to the Mantate podcast. This is the first episode of the year 2026 and I feel so good. Like, I feel really good and I'll tell you guys why I feel so good. But before we do that, I just want to say welcome to anyone that's new to my podcast. If you're seeing this on a social media platform, whether it's like a little clip nyana, not the full thing, I hope you go on my YouTube and subscribe. Just look for Mantate Show. You'll be able to find my podcast, and also you can go on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify. Just look for the Mantate Show or just type Mantate Show. You should be able to see it somewhere. You can also just go on Instagram. I have a dedicated Instagram page called the Mantate Show. On that bio, you can find a link to like the different platforms where my podcast can be found. But yeah, I feel so good. I'm excited to be giving you guys content again. Every Thursday, I drop a new episode. If you're new here, welcome to the family. We love you being here, and I hope that you will, find this place and space worth your time. I try to talk about all things life. I use this space as a space of reflection. I'm just talking about the way that I'm thinking about life, the way that I'm doing life, but also just, reflecting on the things I'm learning from the people around me and the way that they too are doing life. And in that same spirit, I hope that you will share also how you're doing your own life, some of the things that are important to you, some of the things that you're thinking about, and then we can talk about them and think about them together. And I know that I have a lot of things I want to talk to you guys about this year, because the year is going to be a long but beautiful year with so much to talk about, so much growth to happen. But I also want to know what you guys want me to talk about. I know that you guys want me to talk about certain things that I haven't listed in my, plans. So just let me know what you want me to talk about. You can send me a comment here on this video. You can send me a comment on any of my videos. You can also just send me a DM in any of my social media platforms and just let me know what you're interested in me talking about. You can also just look at, the past episodes to see if I've spoken about that thing. If I haven't, just let me know. I'll talk about it. If I have and you feel like something is missing, I'm happy to go back to a topic and talk about it extensively. And in that spirit, please subscribe, y'all. Please subscribe to my channel. Please follow me on Instagram. So what happens is when you subscribe, when you follow me, it means that anytime there's a new drop, you will be able to see a notification via, your email, whatever platform you're in. And then you'll be able to, not miss episodes, because all my episodes are dope, y'all. I'm not just saying it because they are my episodes, but also because I think about this content, I think about, what I would love to listen to, what I'd be interested in, and I feel like when I put out something, I really believe in whatever I'm putting out, and I always put sensible things, or at least I believe that I do. So yeah, welcome to the Mantate episode, the Mantate podcast. I will be having guests. I know that you guys loved my guest episode last year. So I'm going to be having a couple of people joining me in different episodes just to talk about, their own experiences, their own lives, and just womanhood in their own spaces. So a majority of my guests, if not all of them, are going to be girls, women from different parts of the world. But I might have also other guys joining me at some point in my podcast. So yeah, with that aside, let's talk about why I feel so good today. Like, my energy is just like vibes, y'all. Like, I'm just like on a good mood. I've been on this mood like since we started the whole 2026, and I hope that it's the the mood that carries me through the year. I'm very excited about 2026 for so many reasons, but in terms of why I feel so good, I think part of it is because I got so much rest. I had a long vacation over this Christmas break, and I just used it to rest, and rest looked different for everybody. I've done a podcast episode where I'm talking about rest and some of the ways we cheat ourselves out of, the time we're supposed to be resting. But rest looks different for everybody. But this time I did my resting differently. I realized that every year in December, I used to be somewhere out of the country that I reside in, right? And so I was never home on Christmas. I was always out there, like checking out new places, new cultures, new foods, meeting new people. So that was me. But this year, for some reason, I was home, okay? I was in the same country that I live in. I went to multiple cities in the UAE, but I was just like grounded in one space, which was so different for me and very interesting. Like, my friends kept texting me like, where are you going this December? Where are you going for Christmas? I'm like, guys, can I not just sit down and just be in this one place? So I realized that over the years, I've actually just always been somewhere, not really in a place that, I call home. So what I did was I took a lot of rest. I woke up late. I was just eating, watching TV, just listening to music, going to the gym, just, doing random things. And I was seeing a lot of my friends, people from like Zim that are living in different parts of the UAE. I was just like resting, I wasn't doing anything heavy lifting. And I know that I'm saying this cautiously because I could never spend an entire day without doing something something productive, useful in the sense of rest is useful, but guys, we can't sleep all day. So yeah, a little bit nyana, of the work nyana. I would always put in a little something because I'm also like, I want to see my things move. And as I was starting 2026, there's so much that I was starting on that needed me to lay a good foundation. So I was just using my time of relaxation to just put in a little work here and there. So it was a good time for me, and I slept a lot and I watched a lot of TV. I caught up on a lot of episodes, of some of my favorite series. And yeah, I was just like really having a good time, y'all. And I was just so happy about it. And I think one of the things I'm learning as I grow is the fact that, joy is in all the things that we decide that our joy should reside. Like for me, like I was saying, that for every year that I've been around for like the last 10 years or so, I feel like I've just been always somewhere. But this year, I'm like, my joy is going to be me being grounded in a space. But I also knew, because I traveled to Ethiopia at the beginning of that month, and then I was traveling again to Ghana this month. So I was like, I don't want to be, because I'll come back tired and then I have to start the year traveling. So I'm just going to relax, So I have different reasons for staying at home. But I feel like it was such a powerful decision that allowed me to relax and to rest. And then I'm starting the year in a, rested mode, feeling like, bring it. I'm ready to, conquer the year. So that's the energy I'm in. And I'm very grateful for it because I'm back at school now. I'm fully back in my work. And I'm very excited, I'm starting on a place of rest, in a place of gratitude, in a place of let me do it because I'm ready for it. So yeah, I hope that you managed to rest. If you didn't, please create time sometime soon to just rest because you're gonna need it. I feel like this year is a very special year, and I feel like I say this too much about every year of my life, but this one I have a good feeling about it, okay? So I was saying to someone last year that I get the sense that my 2026 is gonna be the year of ease, And that's the manifestation that I'm giving to my year. I'm just like, I want a year of ease. In my growth, I want ease. In my joy, ease. In my relationships, ease. In my family life, ease. In my work environment, ease. At school, I want ease. In every aspect of my life, I don't want to struggle. I just want to, I've done the work. I've just put the foundation. Like, I don't want to be in a place of struggle. I'm not trying to negotiate, my success or my growth with anything. I've already, established a good enough foundation that guarantees, a future of growth and greatness. And I always say that because of that, I'm confident that this year is going to open up, for me. And this is not to say that there won't be like, little bit of weapons fashioned against me, the universe trying to test me a little bit. But I'm like, bring it. I'm ready. But I think one of the things that are very important for me right now, is just the space of ease, If it stresses me out, finding a way back to ease, remembering that it's not bigger than my joy, it's not bigger than my calmness, it's not bigger than my peace. So that's kind of the mindset that I'm starting this whole year in. And that's why I'm like so happy. I'm like, this year is going to be a year of growth, a year of ease, a year of just all around, young India Hlangana, everything is coming together. That's the prayer, that's the hope, and that's the aspiration for my year. So anyway, as I said earlier, this is the first episode, so it's going to be a little bit everywhere because, guys, I have so much to say, but I'm trying to ground it in, the beginning of my year and the way that I'm thinking about it. But before I go further into thinking about my year, one of the things that I have found very, very useful is a book that I got last year in November. It's a book that is slowly becoming a Bible to me, and I want you guys to check it out. I highly recommend this book. It's a book called Life Unscripted, Stories to Inspire and Empower, and it's compiled by Ibrahim Sanusi. Ibrahim is like one of the most amazing people in this life. This is someone that has done so much for himself, but also so much for others. And one of the things that he did as a birthday challenge to himself was to bring together the people that have influenced him, the people that have been, a part of his life in different ways, and just asking them to write these, letters, these, pieces that are really centered on the things that have mattered to them, whether it's lessons from life, lessons from experiences, lessons from the people around them, or just things that they feel like their younger selves should have known, or younger selves could have had the opportunity to know, and then potentially had been helped to live life in a different way. But for others, it's also speaking into their future. It's not just about the younger self, it's also about the future self. So I love the way that this feels like a guide to life, because it's coming from like different people, and it's people from all over the world, people that are based in different parts of the world. There's a lot of relatability. I was reading some of those pieces and I'm like, this feels like me, it feels like you're writing to me, or you're writing about me. But also some of it, one of the things I was loving is the fact that it's like people are writing and you're like, I'm glad I think this way, I'm glad I've always guided myself through this way, or I've always grounded myself in this principle. So I think for me, one of my favorite things has been just finding myself in this book, in the stories that are being shared. I'm not done with the book, because it feels like it's like I keep saying, it's like a Bible that's becoming a constant in my life. I carry it around a lot, I use it a lot, I go back to some of the stories. But also one of the things that I find very interesting is it's a book that's so enjoyable. You could sit and just read through it, but it's also the kind of book you don't want to read through. You want to go into it, take it all in, stop and reflect, and then go back. So it's a very, very powerful book, and I really recommend it. If you're looking for it, you can go on Amazon. It's on Amazon. Just look for Life Unscripted by Ibrahim Sanusi. I will also just put it on the caption when I post this. If you don't find it on Amazon, you can just send me a DM. I'll send you a link. Or you can also check him out on social media. So Ibrahim Sanusi has social media platforms and stuff. You can check out his work. He does so much amazing work, so it could be relevant to you in different parts of the African continent, but you could also benefit from him even if you're not in Africa or African. So yeah, because of this, I'm just gonna find a little story nyana, okay, and just highlight some of the key principles in that story that I think might be helpful for you guys as you think about your year. So one of the other things that's interesting about this book is when you open it, it's got a good number of stories, right? There are so many stories, and there's this table of contents, and then you can just go through it and find the thing that's relevant to your moment, to you right now. You can also search by people. You could just look at the names of those people and then just look them up and see whose biography, whose bio kind of just speaks to you, whose profile kind of speaks to you, whose line of work kind of speaks to you. But also the other thing is, more than just reading the stories of those people, I highly recommend that you go also on LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn, and look for that person that resonates with you the most, and just look for them, connect with them, and then you'll be able to get more than what they managed to put in this article. So I highly recommend that. I will talk about this later in the year, not today, but just the value of networks. And it starts with things like this, where you read something, it speaks to you, and then you just go to that person and say, I read this that you wrote, and this is how I feel about it, this is what I think about it. Or just thanking them for writing something that allows you to step into a new part of yourself, or whatever it is that you want to say to them. It's a good entry, and then you connect with that person. You never know what that might create for you. So what I'll do is I will just choose one person's work and then just go into it. I'm gonna choose, because this was one of the most interesting one. This is actually a relative of Sanusi, right? Which is so interesting, because when I was reading, I think it should be a brother. It's either a biological brother or a cousin or something related, but the name of the author is Ridwan Sanusi. So the title of his piece is The Courage to Accept and Live in Your Individuality. That's the title of his piece, right? One of the things I loved about this piece, which is very, very powerful, was just this idea that he was kind of like unpacking that the truth of life is that there is a chance that you could be different, different in the way that you think about things, different in the way that you imagine your life, different in the way that you choose whatever path you choose, or you make the decisions that you make. So he was kind of explaining the instances in his life where he has had to make these decisions, that if you look at them in the context of what you expect other people to be, you might just look at it and be like, this is crazy, this is madness, this is not gonna work. But then when you're grounded in that individuality and accepting that, okay, this might look mad to people, but I'm gonna do it because this is me and this is how I've chosen to to run my life. So it was kind of like speaking to that, and I felt like it resonates a lot for me. And I don't want to, say too much, but I wanted to just read maybe 3 paragraphs. I'll just pick random paragraphs because his piece was also longer than most of those other pieces, which is very interesting. But I'll just pick a couple of paragraphs and read them for you guys, and then you can just let me know what you think about them as well. But obviously I will tell you what I think about them. So the first one is under the title Life as a Journey. Life as a Journey. So it says, I call us pilgrims of the road less traveled, by Robert Frost. If we accept journey as a metaphor for the duration of our time on earth, our formative years growing under the wings of our parents and immediate community represent the origin of this journey, and the destination is the latter part of our years on this earth. While we might all be traveling with the aim of arriving at the same place, the choice of road, layovers and stops etc. has a great impact on how we arrive at the destination. These layovers represent all the one-way door decisions we make along the way, powerful enough to change how we arrive. In most societies, there are understandable mechanisms and mental models passed down that provide the sensible paths to ensure everyone arrives at the destination in the most optimized way. For example, there is an old saying that no one who rises before dawn 360 days a year fails to make his family rich. This saying, passed down from the imperial Chinese farming culture, carries an important mental model about the importance of discipline and diligence in prosperity. This model is almost universal, as you'd find similar sentiments in other cultures. In the West, the early bird catches the worm. In Russia, he who gets up early, God gives to him. In Africa, the rooster that wakes up late will go hungry. And in Islam, the Holy Prophet said in the Hadith, "O Allah, bless my nation in their early mornings." Just like this mental model of prosperity from discipline and diligence, you would find models for almost all aspects of life. Strength from cooperation, reward for morality, reward from patience, the power of knowledge, reward of risk, etc. That form one society's cultural mental models distilled from generations of collective experience. As we grow older and get accustomed to hearing these mental models repeated from parents and elders, these internalized mental shortcuts become our culture. They shape expectations and behavior for most people most of the time. For young adults, they provide a baseline map of how their society thinks an optimum life journey should look like. So when I told my family that I was getting married at the age of 24, it contradicted the mental model in our society. While the Yoruba culture where I come from generally encourages early marriage for women, the responsibility and economic readiness it places on men requires a maturity no one expects someone of my age to have. I was gonna, pick different paragraphs from different parts of his piece, but I feel like these work well together. So I just read 3 paragraphs on page 43 and 44, and I think you guys can see the point I was trying to make earlier about the way that he thinks about individuality, right? So he's kind of helping us understand the way that society kind of models the ways in which we should behave, we should think, the acceptable ways of being in order for you to optimize your life, right? So these are mental models that are designed to get the best out of you. So technically, they are really good models, right? They are sensible models. If you follow them, they're also based on experiences. So it means that they might have worked on other people. So there's a chance that if you pursue them, you will be able, to maybe just optimize your journey. But I think the last paragraph I was reading, which I don't get into extensively, basically points to him going against what has been shaped as the societally accepted model of thinking about, life. And he just highlights this one decision. It's not the only decision he talks about. He also talks about a decision later where he has to move his entire family to a different space. And, it's a decision that he makes understanding that this is so risky. I'm leaving a comfortable place and then taking this risk into a new space. But in doing that move, it actually moves him into a space of growth. So I think it's a very powerful story about just the value of it's okay to go against the grain. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to be different. It's okay to do your things differently. And I say this because a lot of times we try too hard to fit in a lot of times we try too hard, to be in line with what society expects of us. But it's just really reminding us that we don't actually have to do that. It's okay to learn from the models that are there. It's okay to think a certain way if it's helpful, if it does, push you forward. But it's also okay to be different. When he explains later why he made this decision, and how it impacted him and the partnership that he was getting into and the family that he's managed to build for himself, you can start to see like, this is good for you. It's great that you actually listened to yourself and went the direction that you wanted to go, even though it was like in a contradiction to what was expected of you. So I think you guys get the sense of what I'm saying when I say these stories are like, guiding principles, like a guide to, doing this life thing right. And also, I'm not going to read, a lot of it. Get the book and read it. But one of the other things I loved was the stories. I can't remember the name of the person that wrote the story. But what they did was they looked at the mistakes that they had made, the things that they could have done differently. But also in reflecting on those decisions that they could have done, made differently. I think one of the things I loved was it was also from a place of I would not be this person if I had not made those decisions. And I think it's very important in how we think about the lessons from our journey. A lot of times people get excited about this idea of if I could go back in time, I would do this differently because then I wouldn't be here. And I always say that, number one, it's a fact that you can't go back in time and change, the decisions that you made. But also it's this understanding that you wouldn't be where you are right now if you hadn't made those decisions. The person you are right now is the right person for the person that you're becoming. There is a chance that you would not have been the person that you're becoming if you had not made the decisions that you made. So I think it's accepting that what I can't change about my life is fine. I can learn from it. I can decide to see, okay, this is what I loved about those choices. This is what I didn't like about those choices. This is what I'm not going to do again. Or this is how differently I'm going to do this. So I think for me, that's how I always look at my journey. I'm looking at my life and I'm like, okay, the younger me made decisions based on the available information that I had. She made decisions based on the level of, intellectual capacity, emotional intelligence that she had. She also made those decisions based on the context that she was in. And I'll always be proud of that younger me. Younger me was a lot of things. And I think if I look at younger me and decide that, okay, younger me was just like on a mistake, journey, like a marathon of bad decisions, I wouldn't look at that version of me as the version that gave back to the person that I am. And so for me, I'm always very grateful for the younger me. And I think that was one of the reminders that I got from this book, that there's so much power in every journey that we're on. We don't just learn from our own journeys, we also learn from other people's journeys. So yeah, I feel like this is a book that I'm going to be reading throughout the year. And if you've got other books that are similar, please just let me know. I love books that are either written by, Africans. I don't know, for some reason, I feel like when they write from a place of relatability, I'm like, yes, speak to me, I love stories of people whose context I have a familiarity to. And this is not to say Africa, is small enough for me to relate to everybody. But there's a way in which people like me write that I relate to. And I'm always excited to see, what their experiences are in their different contexts, in their different journeys. So if you've got any books by Africans, whether Africans in the continent or the diaspora, recommend them to me. And also if you've got books by other people that you think might be useful, send them to me. I will take them out. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to tell you guys about, this book and how it's shaping the way that I think about my 2026. And then this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I know that, this episode, if I don't let it go, I'm just going to keep, like I said earlier, I've got a lot to tell you guys. But one of the other things that is important for me as I go into this year is something that I try to think about every year, and I recommend it to you guys. So in one part, it's thinking about a strategy for your life. I'm always telling my friends, I'm always asking them, like, what's your strategy for this year? What's your vision for the year? And I do this with partnerships as well. If you're my partner, I'm just going to be like, what's the plan this year? What's the plan for you? But also, what's the plan for you with regards to me? What's the plan for this partnership? I like that kind of clarity. At least I work like that. I want to have a big picture, and then it's easier for me to see the smaller, steps that need to be taken to get to your big picture. And I also don't trust people that don't have a plan. I just feel like, yo, guys, The only person that I can wing with is myself. If it's other people, I'm like, nah, guys, I do not trust you. So that's why I'm always telling my friends, like, what's the plan, so that I also see how I fit into it and also how I feed off it. And then if it's partnership, also like, bruh, if we don't have a plan, what are we doing? Like, yo, guys, nah, I want a plan. So that's how I function. I'm always like the person that sits down and say, what's the strategy for my year? What do I want to get out of my year financially? What do I want to get out of my year emotionally, you know, physically, but also just in terms of my connections, the people around me, the people that I work with, the people in my family. What's the plan for those kind of relationships? So I would recommend that you think about it as well. What's your strategy for the year? What's your vision for the year? And it's not always you sitting down and saying, you know, I'm gonna go to the gym every day, I'm gonna eat vegetables, I'm gonna do, because like sometimes we do all those things that feel like we need to tick boxes, and every time we can't tick a box because you didn't do something, it does kind of kill you because you feel like you're not progressing. But I think for me, when I think about it from a place of strategy, I'm like, okay, what's the bigger picture? And it stays constant. My bigger picture stays constant. The how I get there kind of changes, which is also okay because a lot of things change. So I would say have a strategy which is like a bigger picture. If maybe one of your goals is to maintain, you know, whatever physical health that you believe, you know, it to be your goal. Like for me, if I decide to say I want to stay, you know, slender in this way, or I want to work on this, that's just gonna shape how often I show up at the gym, or if I run, or if I intentionally walk. You know, sometimes it's not going to the gym or doing all these things. Sometimes it's just like having a schedule that allows you to exercise throughout your day. That way you're not overthinking like I need to set aside time for gym, because your entire day, you know, allows you space to, you know, exercise. It could be financial goals. Just for instance, I was thinking the other day that for people that are not necessarily trying to serve because maybe you don't have a job, or your job doesn't allow you to serve as much as you want, and you feel like, okay, I'm gonna save like $1 every week or every month or whatever as a way of learning. I think for me, I value people like that who are like, okay, I don't have the money to serve in excess, but I'm just gonna, you know, do it as a way of building a habit of saving money or investing money. So I would say, like, if you have a financial goal of, you know, being better at, you know, how you govern your money, you can set, you know, such goals where it's like, it's not too much, but it's also like something that you're gonna need to do and hold yourself accountable. That way, when you start earning more money, you're gonna increase, you know, whatever it is that you're saving. I just feel like if you tell yourself I'll start saving when I have $1,000, you will not save. Like, that will not happen, because discipline starts with a small amount. So as you think about your strategy, I'd say think about that way. Say, okay, physical fitness is my goal. I'm just gonna do this in my day. That allows me to, you know, to stay in constant exercise. Or I'm just gonna go to a boot camp as a way of, you know, starting and letting my body get used to it, and then try to build, you know, a culture of fitness after that. Or you could just be like, okay, financially, I'm thinking this way. So I would say that think of the bigger picture and then work, you know, backwards into like, okay, what are the smaller things that need to be done for me to just, you know, end up there. So I would say that's kind of the way that I think about my life sometimes. I set a lot of crazy goals. I'm that person. I'm just like, I have a lot of ideas about what I'm trying to do, and I'm very clear on kind of how I like to do things. So I'm always very like strategical, like sit down, what are we doing and how are we doing it. It's so funny because I was saying that one of the things that I invest, you know, my strategy and, you know, vision setting on is travel. So by the time I start the year, I'm like, okay, January to May, this is where we're going, this is why we're going, this is what we're doing. So I think for me, it helps me to always have a plan and then build towards it, which makes my life super easy, because then I'm not stressed about, you know, doing things last minute. It's not my kind of thing. So I would say, guys, as we start the year, let's have a plan, let's have a strategy, and also let's commit to that strategy, and also have people around you that hold you accountable. Because I feel like if you've got friends that don't have a plan, chances are you're also not going to have a plan. Or if you do have a plan, you're probably just going to drop it along the way, because they're not motivating you to honor that plan, and also they're not holding you, you know, accountable. I mean, they're not obliged to, but I'm also like, if you're going to be in my life, you better, you know, provide some level of inspiration, challenge, and so that I'm, you know, I'm growing, because I'm also going to be giving you the same. So we can't have people in our lives that don't push us in the right direction for growth. So as we're starting this year, this is the mindset that I'm in. And I know I'm saying we're starting this year, but it's already like the end of January, which also tells you that, you know, my year started, you know, fast, and it's been moving like so fast, which I like, because I mean, moving fast means that I'm progressing in my studies, but it also means that, you guys, by like, I don't know, next week it's gonna be a new month. Like, how does that even work? We're just in 2025 right now. So anyway, the point is, have a plan, have the people around you that have a plan that will push you in your plan, and then just stick to it and see what happens. If you've never had a plan, try this and see what happens in your life. If you've always had a plan, never been good at fulfilling it, try fulfill it and see what happens. If you've always been a plan person, shout out to you, keep doing it, because it's the people like that that really kind of get things done sometimes. I know some people are good at just, winging it. I have things that I can wing, but they're things that relate to my life and my growth that I don't play with. I need structure, like, let's know what's happening. Even the Bible says write the vision down so that they that read it, can run with it. It's easier to spell out a vision to people when there's a place of reference for it. So that's kind of like my mindset for it. And yeah, the last thing I'd recommend for us, because we're doing these things together, is that we invest in reading. We invest in, learning new things every day. There are different ways of learning things. It could be like reading books, it could be listening to a podcast, it could be watching the news, it could be reading, academic articles, research reports from organizations, not just, NGOs, but also governments, corporates, different people. Just read a lot of things. Read about the world around you, because I feel like the world is so global right now. We are interacting online with people from different parts of the world, and so it's very important that we get a sense of what's happening in the world around us. It doesn't mean that you'll always know what's happening in India, in Iran and in Zimbabwe and Ghana and wherever, but have as much knowledge as you can to push into conversations, because if you're not bringing valuable conversations to the space, you're going to struggle sometimes in these online spaces. You're also going to struggle when you get into conferences, internationally or different platforms, and then you don't want to be the person that's always just there looking blank. So I would recommend that you do something every day that allows you to learn, and also refining skills. If you're good at something, challenge yourself to to be better at it. Challenge yourself to learn something new. Like, I'm always that person. Sometimes I'm like, I'm stretching myself a little bit too much, but for me, I'm like, the things that I love to do, I'm just going to invest time in learning those things. And some of the things is just thinking about how you can do them in a smart way. Like, it doesn't always have to be you setting aside 4 hours a day to learn that new skill, because maybe you don't have the luxury of 4 hours a day. But it's also like, when you're doing something that you're really good at, then you can do something else as you're doing it, so you can do it parallel. That's for people that maybe can multitask. I know some people are better at it. If you're like me and you can multitask, it means that you can do a couple of things at the same time. That way you can do things in the same hours instead of dedicated extra time for different things. So I do really recommend learning as a constant in your life. Continue to learn about science, even though like it can sound very crazy sometimes. Just learn about innovation in health. Learn about AI, learn about religion, learn about cultures, read about fashion, read about food, like the history of food. Just read about nutrition, read about climate, anything that is useful in the world. Sometimes it's just like, just get it in there. You never know when you're going to need it. And yeah, I think if we do that, we're definitely going to be better people. I'm going to be talking to you guys for the rest of the year, so I'm just going to leave it here. But thank you so much for just being here throughout this entire episode. It's the first one of this year, and I'm very excited, for the rest that are coming this year. And I hope that you'll stick around for all of those. Like I said earlier, if you have something specific that you want me to talk about, I will definitely talk about it. You just have to let me know via comments, or just send me a DM in any of my platforms. But also subscribe to my channel. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. I also have it on Apple Podcasts, but on Instagram there's a dedicated page called The Mantate Show. So yeah, I hope you guys will definitely subscribe and join my family. Okay, and also yeah, I look forward to all these conversations with you guys. And also the last thing, y'all, that I forgot to mention is I started Uguti. In as much as my podcast is about the things I'm talking about, the things I'm excited to to share from my experiences, from my thoughts and things like that, it's also just about style, fashion, so one of the things I'm trying to do is to also just show you guys what is there in the world, in terms of like whether it's fabric from different countries or it's jewelry from different countries, but also hair, because I love everything hair. So it's dreadlocks, it's big hair, whatever. So as you go through the episodes, if you're excited about hairstyle, you want to ask me how I did it, just let me know. I normally post on my TikTok a couple of videos, so I'll probably be able to, you know, do a little video for you showing you how I did my 2-strand twists, how I tied my duke, how I did something, whatever it is. Or if you're interested in where I got something, just ask me. I'm just gonna let you know one thing about me when it comes to clothes: I do not gatekeep, because what are the odds of us wearing the same outfit in the same place every day, you know? Or what are the odds of, you know, us wearing the same thing anyway? So might as well just give you. And if you do wear it, I mean, there's a chance that we're gonna wear it differently, because I'm not gonna be wearing the same thing the same way twice. Okay, I try to kind of make things a little bit different. So even if it's like a slight nyana difference, I know if I meet you wearing the same thing I bought, we're not going to be wearing it the same way, so we're all going to be looking great in different ways. So yeah, if you're interested in anything that I'm wearing, if you're interested in anything that I've done to my hair or whatever, just let me know. I'll be happy to share. Other than that, thank you guys for joining me. Take care. I will see you next week. Bye.